Hello, welcome to the Brooklyn Knitfolk podcast. This is episode number 48. My name is Jaclyn. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry, basically any social media, as @Jaclyn Salem. This is a vlog about knitting, sewing, and then basically whatever crafty things I get up to. So thank you so much for joining me today. I do have one exciting announcement, and that is that I released my second quilt pattern, the Hex Appeal Quilt, over on Etsy. So I'm really excited about that. I know that one and the first one, the Akasha quilt, as I named it. It's aka like the contemporary Americana quilt. Over Vlogmas made 4 quilts, and a lot of you requested patterns for them, so I'm happy to put those together. And the second one in that series, the Hex Appeal Quilt, is now available on Etsy. It was definitely a fan favorite, I think, for sure. My sister loves hers and uses it all the time, so I'm really excited to make that available for you guys. I'll put links to where you can get it on Etsy in the episode thread for this on Ravelry. And yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's like such a versatile quilt pattern. You can use 2 fabrics or you can use 20. I use so many, so you really never get bored when you're making it. I was about to say knitting it, but really never get bored when you're sewing it, just because, especially if you go for the 20 fabrics like I did, it could be a great stash buster. So if you have a lot of scraps and want to use those up in a quilt, this would be a great pattern for that. It's just really fun to put together, especially like working with so many different fabrics as I did. So I hope you guys enjoy that. It's definitely easy for a beginner to accomplish. So if you've made one quilt or something before, like a simple patchwork, this would definitely be something that you could take on. So if you have any questions about that quilt pattern, by all means, let me know. But yeah, it's available on Etsy now. So that's really the only bit of administration stuff I have to tell you. So now we can get into the rest of the episode. I do have a finished object, but I don't have the finished object. You might be able to guess by that I did finish the boyfriend hat. So yeah, sorry to drop the bee bomb on you guys. You like went crazy about it, and I had a feeling that might happen, but I was like overwhelmed with your kind words. Thank you so much for all of your enthusiasm. I'm not sure if I should be embarrassed by that or not, but anyway, it was nice that you guys are also excited about it. So I finished the Marlin hat, which is designed by Sari Nordland, and I knit it out of Quince & Co. Gosh, there's cat hair all over this. Quince & Co. Lark, which is their worsted weight base, in the Malbec colorway. Oh my gosh, my nails. All right, just pretend like you don't see that. Anyway, in the Malbec colorway, I absolutely love working with this yarn. And I'll put in a picture of the finished hat so you can take a look at it. But this really just like the combination of this yarn and the Marlin hat pattern, match made in heaven for this particular project. Quince & Co. has a great amount of twist to it, so it gives excellent stitch definition for cabled projects. So if you're looking for yarn for a new cabled project, I would highly recommend Quince & Co. for that reason. The hat is a very heavily cabled hat. Super fun to knit. I love knitting cabled projects, so it was, yeah, knitting nirvana, I guess, as they say, for me. I did follow the needle size exactly recommended in the pattern, which is really unusual for me. As I'm a loose knitter, I tend to drop down needle sizes. So what I automatically kind of start by knitting a needle size below what the pattern recommends these days. But as I was knitting it, I was like, this feels really tight, and so I switched, and whatever was recommended was perfect for me. So yeah, I love the pattern. I think it's just so, there's 2 different sizes, a women's medium and a men's medium. Obviously I knit the men's medium, and I discussed in the previous episode that the stitch count does not work out for 2x2 rib as called for in the pattern. 2x2 rib requires a stitch count that's divisible by 4 in order for it to be able to complete the full circumference in a 2x2 rib. So after I figured that out from, you know, casting it on and knitting 2x2 rib and getting to the end and counting and all of that. I just ripped it out and did a 1x1 rib instead, and it obviously worked out fine. So that's the only modification that I made to the pattern. I really want to knit it again. I really love the color, and this is something that you might find helpful, I guess. So the pattern calls for it was either 3 skeins of 100 or 3 skeins of 50 gram yarn or something like that. Basically, you needed more than 100 grams of yarn. So I bought 2 50 gram skeins for a total of 100 grams when I first started the project. And I was nearing the end of it and thought, oh god, I like saw in the pattern later on that I was gonna need another skein, and I was like, crap, so I guess I'll have to go back to Argyle to get another one. So I did. And this is a full 50 gram skein because I ended up not needing it in the end. So I'm not sure if this will apply to you, but I had 6 grams left over from the second 50 gram cake of the Quince & Co. color. So I didn't end up needing this, but now I'm kind of tempted to just knit the hat again for myself because I love this colorway. It's like a maroon red purple, one of my favorite colors in general, and it's called Malbec, so you know, duh. The hat name is Marlin, and I think Sari Nordlund says in the pattern that that's named after her cat, which I thought was really cute too. So Marlin the cat with Malbec color yarn. So yes, loved, loved, loved knitting this project, and might knit another one for myself since I have a 50 gram skein. So I just have to get another 50 gram skein and I can make one for myself. I can't decide if I would knit the 2x2 rib because the women's cast on stitch them out will work for a 2x2 rib, or if I would knit the 1x1 again because I really like how his turned out. So I don't know, we'll see. It's low priority right now for sure, especially as like, I mean, spring is on its way. It's still definitely cold enough here to be wearing a hat, but it's low priority on my list right now to knit a hat for myself, especially because I just knit that broken rib hat from that Chelsea Yarns color. Oh, I love that hat. I wear it so much. So hats get a lot of wear from me. Anyway, that's the Marlin hat. Absolutely love this project. Would definitely recommend it. Again, if you just knit the larger size, just be aware of the cast on amount for the ribbing. But other than that, excellent experience. So I've also made some progress on socks for mom. So my mom requested another pair of socks and she wanted them in a blue color. Something that she could wear with jeans or just more casual pants. So this is Hedgehog Fibers in the Hurricane colorway. Very different from anything I would ever choose to knit for myself. Hi, kitty. This is Jafar, for anybody who doesn't already know him. Sweet baby. Okay. Hurricane colorway, nothing I would ever choose for myself, but it is very fun to knit with. I don't typically gravitate toward the blues. So I'm still on the first sock, but I am finished with the heel. I originally cast on 68 stitches because the Clark socks that my mom has are 64 stitches on a US 1, and so I cast on 68 stitches on a size 0, but looking at it, I'm just a little concerned about it being big enough, so I've increased to 70 stitches for somewhere around here I increased to 70 stitches. I did a half garter stitch, half stockinette heel, and the reason I did that, so I started off knitting a garter stitch heel, which means that it's a short row heel pattern. The Fish Lips Kiss heel is what I've used. But that just means that instead of purling the wrong side, you knit every single row and it creates a garter stitch heel. And it always looks really squishy and comfortable, but it is a pain in the ass to knit it, honestly. I don't know what it is about it. It's just like digging into the stitches when they're this dense for a sock. Something about that just made it really annoying to knit garter stitch So I, halfway through the heel pattern, switched to stockinette for the rest, and that made it so much quicker. I do kind of like the effect though, and I think it'll be okay comfort-wise because the heel, the garter stitch portion is on the back of the heel and not where you're walking, so it's not like on the bottom of the foot, so I don't think that it would be any less comfortable. I'm going to repeat the same process on the other sock just so that they match, and I think it, like I said, I do think it looks cool. Hopefully you can see this. The light is fading fast, so might have to do some editing with the light later on, but yeah, so I'm loving how this is working out. This is the Socks on a Plane pattern by Laura Lindman. It's my go-to. I wouldn't call it vanilla because it's not a vanilla sock, but it's my go-to pattern for when I want to knit something and not think about a pattern for socks, because you don't have to count rows. You can just count the repeats of the cable. So I just finished the heel, and literally now I'm just going to be in stockinette world on the foot. I can't decide if I'm going to carry the cable onto the foot or not. Might as well. Again, this way I don't have to count any rows. So, not that I would count rows anyway, I'd just measure it. It's good enough for me. So yep, still working on the first sock. I don't think my mom has any sort of pressury deadline about when she wants me to knit these socks for her, so. So cute, by the way, too. On my last episode, my mom commented somewhere in the comments about how she stops people to show them her Clark socks, and so many of you liked her comment. It was really funny. Her comment was, it was such a mom comment, so love you, Mom. The next knitting project I have to show you is a new cast on. So you might be aware, if you follow me on Instagram, that I am starting another sock design. So looking at this, you can't really tell that I've done very much, but let's just say that by now I'd definitely be on the foot of a sock, at least if I had done, I don't know, designing is always, it's a work in progress, obviously, and I feel like every design that I've done so far has had a minimum of 3 ripping out and starting over, 3 times that I've had to do that. So right now I'm on, hopefully what will be the 3rd time is the charm. But I'm kind of held up again because I've had another idea about how I should execute the cables in the pattern. Yeah, again, there are cables in this. I have cables in all my sock projects. I like cables because then again, you don't have to count the rows, you just count the repeats, and they're really simple, non-traveling, non-complex cables. So, hi kitty. So by now, I would have been on the foot of a pattern, but unfortunately, not unfortunately, I mean that's just the design process. It takes time, and things don't exactly work up as you imagine them to work up, so yeah. But I am very excited about this yarn. This is Sweet Sparrow Yarns on her Gosling base, which is a merino cashmere nylon base, and it's in the Blackberry Mousse colorway, which is just one of my favorites of all of her colorways. Julie's been knitting a Tegna out of Blackberry Mousse on her Hummingbird base, which is 50% silk and 50% merino, I think. I don't know. Julie, correct me if I'm wrong on that. But it's a really, really, really gorgeous sweater. Jafar. And every time that I see her knitting on it, it just makes me want to cast on Blackberry Mousse. So when I had all of these options for the sock design, this was one of the contenders and what I ended up choosing. So I'm really excited. The design is inspired by the New York Public Library, which if you've watched either of my Vlogmases, then you'll know. I mean, it's kind of a tie with 2 other buildings, but you can't go inside the Flatiron building, and technically the Brooklyn Bridge is not a building. So it's my favorite building in New York City, I guess. I just love the interior. The library is so beautiful, and I just can't wait to have more of this finished to show you so that you can see how and why it is inspired by the New York Public Library. I just think it's so neat. So every time that I wear these, I'll be so excited about it. And the stitch count, is gonna be, it turns out, for the medium size. I hope to do at least a medium and a large. I'm not sure that a small size is gonna work out for this pattern or not, but the stitch count is the same as the Irving socks, and the Irving socks are by far my best fitting pair of socks. So I'm very excited to have another pair that's going to work up on a gauge and stitch count that is just so well fitting for me. So that's what it is so far. This poor yarn that's been wrapped around this cake has been knit and re-knit like I said 3 different times now. So hopefully, again, 3rd time is the charm. I just need to chart things out, like be more vigilant about charting. I kind of just go for it and just read all of the stitch, kind of reference all of my stitch patterns that I'm using, and it just never works out. I just need to like sit down and chart things before I really get going. So you live and you learn. You just get so excited to cast it on. And that's in my Wild Handmade, I believe is her shop name. But I love this bag. Leah made it for me. I love drawstring bags. They're my favorite knitting bags. So yes, these are going to be my library socks. I haven't thought of a name yet, but again, they're inspired by the New York Public Library, so I'm sure it will have some sort of name relevant to that I choose. And in addition to that, I have, when I sat down to kind of like figure out, I had this pattern idea in my head. I kind of did some other research and just quickly jotted down ideas and sketches for other designs. I have 12 design ideas in here. I'm not sure if I'll do all of them, and the ideas are always evolving and changing, as is the nature with design in general, but yeah, 12 design ideas in here right now, so just a little bit crazy with creativity right now, so that's just really exciting. Okay, that's it for the knitting content today, but I do have quite a bit of sewing stuff to share with you, oddly enough. So a lot of it is not sewing that I've actually done, some of it is, but sewing plans for the future. So Vlogmas really kicked my booty when it came to sewing. I was just, when you make 4 quilts in 2 months, it really just kills your sewing mojo for a while, and I just needed a break from sewing. I just didn't even want to look at my sewing machine. It was just too much for me to handle. And I just needed, yeah, a break from it. So now though, I'm just like, all of a sudden it's like slowly, maybe not all of a sudden then, it's slowly coming back to me to like creep in to want to sew, especially garment sewing. I think that because I'm not very accomplished with sewing garments yet, that also kind of makes me more hesitant to sew them. So with quilts, I know my way around basic quilt patterns. I can improvise them and make them up as I go along. But with sewing garments, I'm just such a novice and a beginner that I really don't know I don't know what I don't know, number one. And number two, I just feel like if I troubleshooting is particularly troublesome for me because I don't really know how to fix a lot of the problems that I encounter when I do sew. So it's like when you're sewing for a 3D object, you know, or 3D thing like your body, it's difficult to know what to do to make something look professional in the end. So that's why I guess I kind of been like shying away from sewing clothes, but I really want to because I don't like supporting fast fashion, for one, and two, I want to be able to make things that are so tailored to my body, number one, and number two, my taste. It's just really exciting and empowering to be able to sew clothes to your own specifications. So that's kind of just been tossing that around in my head. Grace, who is Wizard Dreams, I'll put her Instagram handle up here again. If you guys are not following her, really, I'm obsessed with her Instagram stories. You will learn so much from her. She's a technical designer. I talk about her all the time. She's my neighbor, literally lives right on the street behind me. So I'm just like lucky to have her as a resource and can just kind of text her when I need help. And we had a sewing day the other day. It was so nice. She came over and we used my sewing machines. I have 3, a serger and 2 regular ones, and just had like a little sewing afternoon, and it was wonderful. So the projects. The first thing I want to talk about is really quickly the range backpack. Thank you so much for all of your feedback about what you're kind of confirming exactly what I thought about that contrast fabric. I just didn't like it. It didn't work for this project, you all agreed. So what I've decided to do is, rather than trying to find a contrast fabric that I like, I've been dying for a red backpack for years. Why not just make it all a red backpack? And I have enough fabric. I checked out the pattern again, and I have enough fabric to do the entire thing in red. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm very excited about it, and I also ordered the last thing that I will need for it. Well, actually there is one more thing that I will need for it, but not specified in the pattern, is straps for the backpack straps. So I ordered 2 different colors. I ordered this dark red and a brown, and I wasn't sure which one I was going to like the best, which is why I ordered both of them. But the red, turns out, is pretty much a dead-on match with this fabric, so I'm very stoked about that, and I'm gonna use the red one. Based on some feedback about Dawn, who is Dawn and Callie on Instagram, she has a beautiful Instagram feed. I would highly recommend following her. She's the one that alerted me to this pattern in the first place. She made one, I think, for her nephew. I don't know. She made one for somebody, and I loved hers, and that's what inspired me to even, I bought and downloaded the pattern immediately after seeing hers. And she said that the straps on the one that she made came out, and said that she thinks it's because they were sewn in only ½ an inch into the top of the backpack, and she recommends doing at least an inch and then sewing the hell out of it to make sure that it's really secure. So I ordered an extra foot than what she told me that she ordered, just to ensure that I have enough to do that. Otherwise it would have been cutting it pretty close. I think she said she had like 6 inches left over with the 7 feet that she ordered, so I ordered 8 feet of each of these, and it was like 45 cents a yard, so very affordable. This is from strapworks.com. They have tons of options, and this is the 1.5 inch nylon webbing. I do hope that this isn't going to be like cutting into my shoulders. I guess only time will tell once I actually get it in there. The pattern itself calls for straps to be made out of your contrast fabric. So obviously a fabric strap is going to be more comfortable than a nylon strap would be, but I guess if it doesn't work out, I can always take them out or make some sort of pad on the inside of wherever it kind of like hits on the tops of my shoulders, because I carry my laptop in my bag, so it's definitely heavy, so it needs to be comfortable. But if you're just watching for the first time or didn't see the last episode, I'm making the Range backpack by Noodlehead, and I'm making it out of this red fabric, and then I'm sure I have something in stash that I could use as the contrast lining fabric. Although it would be fun maybe to buy some sort of really fun novelty print, because I never buy those for anything, so maybe I'll order a fun novelty print for it, like, I don't know, bananas or something. That would be cute, right? But yeah, so got the last things that I need. The only piece that I have left to buy is I'm going to get a zipper to make this zipper closure right here. I'm also going to do this part right here, but I need to get a zipper for a zipper closure on the top, because I'm walking around in New York City all the time, exposed to the elements and the rain and what have you. I need to make sure that my laptop and the stuff I carry in my bag is protected by a zipper. So that's really exciting. Again, I haven't started that yet, but now that I have basically everything I need, and I've decided that I'm not going to use that contrast fabric, that I'm ready to go ahead and make this pattern. And it's apparently a pretty quick one, so maybe by the next time I talk to you guys, I will have a new backpack. Oh, and somebody asked me, I believe in the last episode, if you have to have a special needle and or thread when sewing a backpack, and the answer to the first question is definitely yes. You definitely want to use a heavy duty needle when sewing with fabric this thick. Essentially, this is like the weight of denim, if not heavier. I forget exactly what the weight was when I bought it, but definitely want to use a heavy duty needle for this project. And then while I was buying this fabric, I also purchased this very heavy duty thread. So I couldn't think of the word. Yes, heavy duty thread that is meant to be used with this kind of fabric. This I think is less important than a heavy duty needle. Like the needle is non-negotiable. I think you could just get by with any kind of non-cotton, like a polyester thread, just because that's going to hold up better over time, and cotton will be prone to like disintegrating and breakage. So I would definitely recommend some sort of polyester type of thread, which is because that will hold up better over time. And that's also what I've researched and have been told based on what I've read. Alright, so the project that got me back into sewing, I think it was Grainline Studios, I'm pretty sure, posted a picture of her first sewing project and then a story in her Instagram of a hamburger that she made, and I just thought it was the most adorable thing I had seen in a long time, and that Maverick, my nephew, needs a sewn hamburger. So this is the first project that got me back into sewing, and I have no pattern. I basically just kind of took screenshots as she was showing the different pieces of the burger that she made in her video. And so I just kind of going rogue, doing whatever I think looks interesting. So far I have the burger patty, which I made by cutting out 2 circles and then a flat strip, and then kind of eased the circles into the strips on either side, and then it's just kind of secured on the end here after I flipped it inside out and then stuffed it with some leftover fabric remnants. So they have the burger. I think my favorite, it's hard to say what my favorite thing is, but I do love these pickles. And these were circles, cut out circle discs again, that I just kind of folded in the pieces and then stitched across to secure it. I got better as I went along, clearly. Yes, so love these pickles. Adorable. And my sister says this is kind of a perfect gift right now because Maverick is really into pieces of things at the moment. I'm not really happy with the lettuce. This is the lettuce. And then I kind of did a little bit of top quilting, and it's sandwiched in between layered. There's like a batting layer. I'm not concerned that it's not like covered. It's not perfect. It's a, you know, child's toy. This is just meant to be fun. But I don't really like how this turned out. I may see if I can find a different color green fabric in my stash. Something that just looks more lettuce-like. Although I do like that it's like this quilted fabric, so I don't know, we'll see. Next up, the tomato. How adorable is this? With just like some quilting around it to make it look more like a tomato, sandwiched between, again, another layer of batting. An onion with a swirl quilting on top with layers of white fabric, and then again the batting in between. And then all I have left now is the cheese, which I'm going to make Swiss cheese and cut out holes in it, and this is leftover corduroy that I used for a mini skirt that I sewed a while ago. So this will be the cheese. And then of course the buns. So I'm not sure, that's kind of the only one that I've left that I don't really know how I'm going to execute. Again, I didn't have a pattern for any of this, but I want to make sure it's like a dome top. I think I'm going to use this on the inside of the bottom bun, so this will be like the top part, and then the bottom part will have to be maybe, I guess, similar in how I executed the patty portion, just a little bit thicker. So this will be, I'll cut another strip to ease the 2 circles together and just make it a little bit fatter than the patty. And then for the top, I cut a much larger circle, thinking if I sew it, you know, into it, it'll create more of a dome type effect. But this is, again, something I'm not sure about. No idea. So that's my little hamburger project. I think it's hilarious, and it's just been, that got me back into sewing again. I don't know, it was just like a low stress project that I thought was funny and cute and felt creative because I had no pattern for it, so there was no stress about it being perfect. And it's for, again, you know, an almost 2-year-old who is not gonna care, you know, that the seams are, that, you know, you can see the batting. But yep, so far this is my hamburger. Next up, so I'm doing a swap with somebody soon, and I really wanted to make her a quilt. It was my intention to make a quilt that was ultra scrappy, just like pick out colors that looked cool together, just do random stuff together, no pattern, just like odd stuff. And I can't decide if this is cool so far, obviously it's not even close to being finished, if this is cool or if this is just hella ugly, because right now I'm leaning towards hella ugly. There are parts of it I like I really like this right here. I like, I guess, this half on its own, and I like that I use this contrast purple thread to do, I'm doing quilt as you go, this contrast purple thread to kind of mimic the plaid. But all together, see, here's another one I just did, like other random, you know, I don't know. I'm just like having fun with it, but it's not looking very good. I guess in some ways though, that could be a good thing, because then people are less precious about objects like this and they're more likely to actually use them if it's not something that they think is like so pretty. I don't know. It's just kind of weird. But I do like it in a strange way. So that's something I'm working on right now. I have no clue how this is going to progress, if I even will progress on this, or if I'll just abandon it and make something else for her, but right now that's what I have for it. And then lastly, there are a few projects I want to show you. So I have 2 UFOs, unfinished objects, that I want to show you and just, I guess, chat through them a bit. First one is this dress, which is going to be kind of like a club going out type of dress. It's a very low V. I can't remember the name of the pattern. I'll go and look for it and make sure I put it on the screen for you to see. But it's a very low V. And I believe that the dress was actually not meant to be a dress at all. It was meant to be a tunic, but I turned it into a dress. So I didn't realize that it was a tunic at the time and just cut thinking like, that looks like it's going to be rather short. And turns out it was meant to be a top and not a dress, but I took off the skirt portion of it and then bought more of this lightweight black twill fabric. And it's probably, you're going to see, full of cat hair because it's just been sitting on my sewing desk unfinished. And then attached a much longer skirt. So right now it's hits me about knee length, but I'm going to hem it to be about mid-thigh. Again, this is like a going out dress, so that's what it's meant to be. The other thing I want to change about it, I really love how the V sits on me when it's on. It looks really flattering, and it's not too, the cut is not too out there, so it doesn't show the bust at all, like in a too much sort of way, because it's like so close together. Or it's narrow, I guess I should say. But the back of it is like this high back dress. And I don't think I want that for the type of dress that this is going to be. So this is going to go all the way up to the back of my neck. And I was going to buy a kind of like heavy duty gold zipper to be like a feature zipper, and I still want to do that. But I think before I insert the zip and hem it, and basically all I have to do after that is turn in the sleeve edges. So this was really close to being finished, but I want to scoop out the back to do a lower back. So that's kind of on the plans for this one. So I haven't purchased a zipper yet because I obviously don't know how I'm going to execute the back yet. The seam finishings on this is like when I just got my serger, and so that's nice because I've like serged everything, and this part right here has been like serged and turned in right where the low cut part is. And so it's all finished very nicely with the serger. So that's exciting. So I'm excited to get this done and finish this. Maybe I can try to finish this this week before I leave for the weekend, because I'm going on a trip this weekend to Philadelphia. So I'm excited. I need to see if I can finish this. This has got such little amount left, so maybe after I finish recording I will get to finishing this project so that I can go buy a zipper in the garment district tomorrow. Second UFO, my Rosie dress. So I love this pattern in theory, but the fabric that I chose for it is just too heavy weight. So the bodice is adorable. Let's see if I can get closer here. Adorable, right? Look at this. But then the fabric, it's a gathered skirt, and it's just so heavy that it is not flattering at all around my waist. It adds so much bulk to it. So this wouldn't be a problem if the fabric wasn't striped, because what I want to do is remove the skirt portion and then measure the bodice around and then cut a skirt that is A-line. But if the stripes don't match here, it's gonna look really weird. So I just like keep putting it off because I'm not sure if it's gonna work out or not. But that's the idea of this pattern. So if that doesn't work out though, I guess I could always just buy a solid fabric and do like a color block so the top, you know, can still be this and then the bottom will just be a solid color. That's another way of working it out. I want to do, my plan obviously when I cut this is I want it to be just more A-line, so fitted to the bodice and then flare out so that the skirt is still flattering. And the bodice has boning in it. It's lined, so it has a line. You basically just make two of the bodice and it's boned with plastic boning. This was leftover from a tank top that I made. And it's super soft Rifle Paper Company, so it's just so, like, the whole thing is going to be so nice when I finish it. Yeah, so that's that. And then the straps. So we'll see. Maybe this is another one that I'll just tackle after the podcast to see if it will even work. And if it doesn't, then I need to order fabric for the skirt. I have a lot of fabric sitting over here because I have all these patterns. Again, I'm just really inspired by sewing right now. All these patterns that I want to make, but I don't know if I'm gonna this podcast is gonna run too long if I do that. So maybe I'll wait to like not go through all these patterns and stacks of fabric just because I feel like I won't do all of them and maybe I should just wait to show you once I actually choose. But I guess I can show you the patterns that I have because that's fun, right? But maybe not my fabric choice options for every single one. So first one is this Rachel Kami pattern. This top, I love this top, but it takes like 3 yards of fabric for a top, but it's very flowy and double layered, so yes, love this. Next up, some loungewear. I definitely wouldn't wear this like out and about, it's more just like stuff to have at home, and I have several excuse me. I have several quantities of fabric that I got from Grace, who was destashing a bunch, so I have a lot of this fabric that I can use to make this top right here, just for stuff to have at home. Next up, this dress. Love this dress. And I have some like denim, not denim, it's more like chambray to make with this. But I don't know if it's going to be too heavy for this pattern or not. So we'll see, because it recommends rayon challis, crepe de chine. So those things are much more lightweight than the chambray that I have. But I do love this, and I love that flutter sleeve. I love wrap dress style things. They just look really flattering on my body type. Nah, don't want to make that anymore. Shirt dresses. I have an obsession with these. I wear them a lot. They're comfortable, easy to style, easy to wear. This is McCall's M7120. This Berta Young pattern, which actually looking at it, if it's Berta Young, I wonder if that means it's like junior sizes. But it says 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 on the pattern, so I don't know. But look at these, the backs of these dresses. How cute are they? I love both of them, honestly, but I'm leaning more toward this one because I think I could wear a bra with it, and I don't think I could wear a bra with this one. But look how cute. So cute. And then I just still love this pattern. This is Butterick B5882. It's patterns by Gretchen Hirsch, patterns by Gertie, who designs for Butterick occasionally. And I just always love this dress, but this is like really fancy. I'd have nothing to really wear this to. I mean, not that that matters. I wear dresses almost every day, but so yep, still on my list. This one's got boning in it too, so it's definitely more of an advanced pattern. So I don't know what to do, but these are what I'm kind of considering right now at least. And I have all these piles of fabric of things that I could show you, but oh, and a bodysuit. I have the PDF pattern for the Nettie bodysuit. It's been taped up probably for over a year now, and I just need to cut it out. I have perfect fabric for it. So much on my list right now. That's really all I have to talk to you guys about today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you found this inspirational, even though it was kind of light. I'm kind of between projects right now, but because I was going to be out of town next weekend, I didn't want to wait to post an episode. So I didn't really have a ton of stuff to show you because I'm just deciding what my next projects will be. So thank you so much for watching and for always your kind comments and suggestions about things that I make and your support for everything. The Etsy, again, the quilt pattern, the Hex Appeal Quilt is now on sale on Etsy. So hop on over there if you're interested in making that quilt pattern. I promise you quilts are not difficult at all. And if you're new to this channel, I do have a 10-part tutorial series that walks you through how to make a quilt. It's so approachable and easy to do. It's one of those things that can be as easy or complex as you want it to be. Difficult is never the right word. Complex, yes. Like you can have tiny pieces if you want to. It just takes more sewing and a longer time to do, but I wouldn't exactly call sewing quilts difficult. Just can be as simple or complex as you want them to be. So go get the Hex Appeal quilt pattern. So much that you can do with it. I love that pattern. I definitely want to make it for myself out of naturally dyed fabrics. I've been storing up white sheets and avocado stones for ages to like dye fabric in varying shades of like that blush pink that avocado stones can do. So that's on my list, but again, not high priority at the moment. I have so many other things I want to do. So thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye!